These are some of the best luxurious oud fragrances I have ever smelt. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Kevin here at the Oligarch Boutique. Now for today's episode, we are taking a deeper look into the luxurious house Areej Le Dore. Now this is a house that has almost a cult-like following. They have an extremely loyal fan base, and it is created by Russian Adam, the perfumer. And so you'll find that Russian Adam in previous years, he has created collections of 3 fragrances, and they are usually at an extrait de parfum oil concentration. These usually sell out within 24 hours. It's very hard to get your hands on any of his bottles actually, and he sells directly off his website. Now, what you see in front of me is his latest collection, the 7th collection from Areej Le Dore, and this is a collection of 7 eau de parfums that he's created. And well, I'm very proud to say that we at Oligarch are the first and so far the only boutique that carries his luxurious brand. Now, his previous creations at Extrait de Parfum Oil Concentration, you'll find that they have a bit more of a deeper, richer feel to the fragrances, except they generally tend to sit a bit closer to the skin. So contrary to popular belief, people think that extraits are always better, but not necessarily. In this case here, the 7 creations that he's made, they are all EDPs. And watching him speak about these 7 creations, he wanted to give these compositions room to breathe, and you'll find that the EDP concentration on these actually give it better projection. So you have the 7 here, but today I'm going to take a deeper dive into these 3 that are personally my 3 favorites, and 3 that I have worn throughout the week. The first that I have here happens to be the very first perfume that I tried on skin. It caught my attention because of the name, Ambre de Coco, and I had assumed just based on the name that it was a deep and dark amber fragrance, hoping that the cocoa would tie into cacao perhaps, and I was not disappointed. The Ambre de Coco is inspired by traditional Indian attars called shamama. The shamama attars are characterized by very deep and spicy aromas. These are attars that were created in Kannauj in India. They are made by using different natural ingredients like herbs, spices, and woods. And Ambre de Coco doesn't use a shamama Indian attar in the base of it. So let's give this a smell here. Already what I'm very impressed about is the bottles. Obviously quite a distinct look. I found out about Areej Le Dore probably about 2 years ago, literally just off Instagram, because I was seeing a lot of frag pages that I follow post these bottles, and I just thought, whoa, it looks, you know, like a Hennessy XO, like a cognac bottle. Caught my eye, and I thought, well, is this a cognac or is it a perfume? So I read up about the house and saw that the perfumer Russian Adam, he creates very deep and rich oud scents. This is a fragrance that just smells like luxury. So in the air, what I'm getting is the shamama attar oil, which is quite a very deep, rich and dark oud. And what I find really interesting about this fragrance is that Russian Adam put just a touch of real natural ambergris in the base, because how they create the traditional shamama Indian attar is with natural ambergris in it. So it does have a touch of real natural ambergris in this fragrance. With the Ambre de Coco, it is honestly quite hard to narrow down and pinpoint ingredients / notes like I usually do. I find that the blend that he has created in here is such a complex blend. You do get obviously all different kinds of the ouds with spices in here. I read up that this does have 50 spices in it. So what you're getting is just small nuances in it. Like, I'm sure it's got cinnamon, nutmeg in this, probably saffron as well, all kinds of peppers. I'm finding that the spices are quite exotic, and in the top note what you're getting is cacao and peach. The peach not so evident, to be honest. You do get that cacao note, but it's almost like a very rich dark chocolate, like when you're getting like a 80%, 90% dark chocolate. It has a slight bitterness, but also balanced with some sweetness. Now that could be from the cacao, but it also could be from the peach. Now performance-wise, Ambre de Coco, I've worn it twice this week already, both times in the evening, because I personally find this as more of an evening scent because of how rich and how dark it goes. It goes quite central as well. And for performance on skin, what I'm getting on the Ambre de Coco is over 10 hours. With all the naturals that Russian Adam uses, like all the oud oils and even the touch of ambergris, what you would expect is something that performs that long. So I find that it's probably better that he made these in all EDP concentrations, because projection is quite crazy. When I was driving in the car, I was with some friends, and even one of them told me to wind the window down a bit because I drive a small compact car, and the scent was just filling up the whole car. After a few hours, what I got from this was the Mysore sandalwood. So a very, very natural, realistic sandalwood. Almost feel like I can pick up some cedarwood and guyakwood in there as well. Don't know if it actually is in here, but just it's such a complex blend, and it is one of his more higher end fragrances, because the price range for this Areej Le Dore collection of the 7 fragrances, so it starts off in Australian dollars somewhere around 140, but then it goes up to one that we'll cover later on, which is at the 600 AUD price range as well. So how he's priced it is depending on what kind of ingredients that he's used. That's how he's priced the fragrances. A really, really stunning scent. Now, I think because it has that cacao in it as well, and the ambers, also that peach note playing a subtle sweet part in the top there, I'm finding that it is unisex. Is it for everyone? To be honest, the DNA of a Areej Le Dore fragrance is deep, dark, rich, quite powerful. So I think your nose needs to be accustomed to oud scents, so oud fragrances. Then definitely come in and try this. I think you will absolutely love this fragrance. Now, if you generally have been going for more brands that do fresh aromatic fragrances, citruses, Italian brands, or like French floral brands, then perhaps, well, still come and try them, but perhaps this one is not made for you. The second fragrance is one that I would recommend for you. So not all fragrances in this collection of Areej Le Dore perfumes are all oud heavy. The next one is one that I find much more mass appealing. It's fresh, floral, very, very easy to wear. This is called Gul Hina. Gul Hina is one that kind of puts me in a very relaxed state. Now, what I mean by that is there's going to be some fragrances. Oof, Jesus, the sprays on these are really, really good. Oh, already I'm getting the scents in the air. Oh, that's gorgeous. This is still unisex, but because of some of the florals, which I think the focus is more on the white florals in this, like magnolia and henna flowers as well, it has a really nice feminine side to it. I think a lot of ladies will think that this brand is purely a masculine, oud-heavy brand, but in this collection of 7 fragrances, there are definitely some scents made for you in here as well. So this one, no oud in it. The Gul Hina is a very, very gorgeous, I would consider this spring-summer scent. The florals, the henna flowers, one of my customers was telling me, well, you can imagine that with a die-hard fan base like this, as soon as we announced that we were the first store in the world to carry Areej Le Dore, there was a huge queue of messages on our Facebook and Instagram of people asking us how they can get their hands on a bottle. When I just got it at the start of the week, a lot of customers already came in. 2 guys I had literally in the first hour of when I opened the boxes, and they each bought 4 fragrances. Gul Hina was one that both of them bought. Out of all these, for me personally, I think that the Gul Hina is the most appropriate for everyday wear, appropriate for work. So these 2 gentlemen work in an office, in the financial space, and this would be the most appealing, the least offensive. Now, why did I say that this puts me in a very relaxed state? Well, what I get from this, the florals, the way that it plays around together in the air, I get a very smooth, almost sparkling, tea-like feel from this fragrance. So it's almost like a scent that although it's very mass appealing that you could wear out, I actually would really enjoy a fragrance like this wearing at home, just for myself, you know. I think I'm having much more customers now that tell me that because they work from home, they still enjoy putting on a perfume and just to wear for themselves. And this is that kind of fragrance. The kind of fragrance that it could be a weekender, maybe it's a lazy Sunday that you're having. Price-wise, I think this is very, very fairly priced. All the bottles are actually, you think that it's 50, but it's, I think Russian Adam is very accurate with labeling his fragrances. These are all 48 ml bottles, and price-wise, super affordable. And this is most definitely one that could become a daily scent and even your signature scent. With these notes of tea leaves that I'm picking up, I almost get a sense of that there's some top notes of fruits in it. So for me, honestly, the fruits that I can pick up is like pear, apple. It's quite, I think that's the element that gives it this nice bright sparkliness to it. And it is an attention-grabbing scent. So you don't need to grab people's attention using oud. I think something like this it's just a gorgeous scent. It's a really, really beautiful perfume and one made for both women and for men. Now, the next fragrance we have here is probably the most well-known, currently the most famous perfume in this collection from Areej Le Dore. It is Beauty and the Beast. So Beauty and the Beast, I watched an interview where Russian Adam said that it was inspired by his experience of when he was sitting and smelling different Indian oud oils, and he'd sit there with a hot cup of tea and eating a block of chocolate. So this is actually inspired by his obsession with oud, rose, and chocolate. Already you get this beautiful intensity from the chocolate. There's this creaminess to it, and also it's almost like there's almond, also some kind of nut that's mixed in there, because the cacao is so, it's just so creamy, it's delicious. And the rose, it is an Indian rose, but I find the Indian rose has some characteristics similar to the Turkish rose, where it's very bright and very rounded on the outside, and it has this pop about it. Very appropriately named Beauty and the Beast. I think it's quite evident that the beauty itself is the rose, and the beast is this very powerful, quite animalic, almost barnyardy oud to it, but we are talking about a natural oud that he uses. Now, Beauty and the Beast happens to be the most expensive in this collection, so priced at 600 AUD, but it is because the natural Indian oud oil that he uses is a 30% concentration. So you can imagine that the oud is very, very rich in this fragrance in particular. It's very, very dark, but quite honestly, very well balanced with the contrasting, bright, sweet, feminine Indian rose that it uses, but also that chocolatey, creamy cacao note to it as well. Beauty and the Beast is the last fragrance that I've been wearing throughout the week, so I've also worn it twice this week, the last 2 days. And in terms of performance, what you can imagine on Beauty and the Beast, you are getting crazy, crazy longevity on skin. You're getting crazy projection. Everywhere that I went, when I went to buy my coffee yesterday in the morning, people noticed me and they commented on the fragrance as well. And on skin, it was one that I had a shower, right? Got into bed, woke up the next day, and I still smelt it on my skin. I tend to test dry fragrances actually on the top of my hand, a little bit different to some people. Customers I generally find that they are trying to find these pulse points, but no, I put mine on top of my hand because I drive a lot, and I'm finding that when I'm driving, it's a better spot because I tend to wear a lot of long sleeves and jackets, but because I put it on top of my hand, as I'm driving, it's not covered, and I'm getting really, really nice projection. I'm getting really, really nice whiffs of the perfume. This one in particular had a really rich dry down, and I found the chocolate became sweet, but it was balanced very, very well with the oud that was not animalic 10 hours later, but it was more creamy. I don't know if it's because the oud started to soften up and balance with the other notes of chocolate and rose, but it did perform amazingly. I think a lot of people perhaps get put off initially by how strong the natural oud oil is in Beauty and the Beast, but it is one that you need to get on your skin and give it, I would say, over an hour first to settle down. and then see what you think of it later. All right, guys, you can find Areej Le Dore exclusively in Australia right now from Oligarch. So jump on our website, that's oligarch.com.au. There are 7 fragrances in the new Areej Le Dore collection. And so pop by our Oligarch store to visit and try all these for yourself today. I'll see you guys next week. Hit like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video. Thanks, guys. Ciao.